Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We're down here in Tennessee ready to talk some Green Bay Packers as we're closing in on camp. Obviously, quarterbacks, rookies, and injured players will be reporting tomorrow. And here in just a couple of days, 2-3 days, we're going to have everybody in-house and everything's going to be kicked off. We've seen Chargers camp get started today. Nice to see the footballs flying around out there with the Chargers and their training camp festivities getting going. So tonight we're going to cover, just what are some of the Packers doing on the eve of camp. We're going to hit that. We're going to hit on the latest around the Anthony Belton contract, where we've got this dilemma with the second round picks this year and wanting more guaranteed money than they previously have been getting. We're also going to talk about the contract extension of T.J. Watt and kind of compare it to Rashawn Gary's as well as Max Crosby's to Rashawn Gary's contract as well. Just kind of take a little bit deeper look into that in terms of everybody always says that Rashawn Gary is extremely overpaid. He's breaking the bank and this and that. We're going to kind of comp it with the other players that are towards the top of the edge room when it comes to contracts. And if we have time, we may get into some Devontae Wyatt film breakdown. So before we do all that, Tim, I know we need to get this YouTube stuff out of the way. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. We appreciate you making us a part of your evening. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We don't claim to be. We're damn sure not media members. We're just fans like you here to talk Packers and break everything down, understand the what happened, why happened, and all the everything in between. So, again, if you like this kind of daily Packers content, hit subscribe, and we appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to be a part of it. Tim, you doing all right today, Bubba?
Absolutely, man. Weather finally broke up here. It's beautiful. Cooled off a little bit. Got a break from the heat, man.
Well, we still got it cranked down here, but hey, man, here pretty soon we'll be talking about how chilly it is. So I'm excited either way, man. I'm one of these people that change of the season, I love it. Doesn't matter what the change of the season is, right?
Yep.
It's nice to break up the monotony just a touch. So let's jump into what the Packers are doing here on the eve of camp. And I want to give a shout out to everybody here in the chat. Thank y'all for making us a part of your evening. I see everybody in here lit up. Let me say this too. We put out a call to arms and said, hey guys, we got a bunch of returning viewers that aren't subbed to the channel. And listen, I get it. I've told you my spiel happens to me all the time too. I'll literally watch a new show, watch a new channel, get excited about it, and then not forget to sub and lose track of it. And it takes me a couple weeks to find that channel again. But it's pretty cool. We went from 12,000 returning viewers all the way up to 13,400 in the last couple of days. So the channel's growing like crazy. The subs are through the roof thanks to everyone who contributed and hit that subscribe button. But we're over 4,700 subs. That leaves 8,700 returning viewers. That's not subbed yet. So you may think it's insignificant. If you would, though, please hit that sub button. I'm telling you, man, it makes all the difference in the world. So, Tim, man, we're on the eve of camp. And I like to just kind of go through Twitter. And it's cool. You see all the insiders starting to come back around. You see all the players or, they've kind of been doing their workouts and things get a little bit quiet. And then you get some players that are back into town for camps and stuff like that. It's just an exciting time of the year. And I thought this was really cool. Shout out to Ashley Washburn. And I believe she's with TMJ4. Yeah, TMJ4. So she tweeted this out. Jordan Love is in the house. QB1 is spending his final day of the offseason with nearly 600 kids for his second annual youth football camp. While vets don't have to report to Packers training camp until Tuesday, he'll be there tomorrow with the rookies. So pretty cool, man. QB1 out here just hanging out with the kids and giving back to the community. As we see, there's a lot of guys that are holding out of camp. They're getting in trouble this time of year. Minnesota Vikings, we got Jordan Addison facing a DUI case that might cost him anywhere from 3 to 5 games suspension. It's just, I feel so grateful, Tim, that we got the players we've got on the Green Bay Packers, man, because it's so easy to root for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You love it, right? He's out here doing the youth football camp, no big deal. Not like one of the biggest years of your career is about to get underway here. But, hey, that's what Jordan does. And a lot of our players are like this too, right? active in the community. And I'm willing to bet Jordan's not going to be the only veteran that'll be there a little early. I'm sure Josh Jacobs is probably going to show up. We've got some leaders on this squad, so it's just really cool to see it.
Yeah, it really is. Daryl in the chat says, love showing support and contributing with those kids. Again, and that's the Packer way for sure. Now, on the other hand, you've got Carrington Valentine tweeting out these Instagram stories. I'm going to keep it muted because there is some language in there.
Just a few.
So, love this, though. This is from Carrington Valentine's IG story. He and Nate Hobbs getting that work in, right? Absolutely love how Valentine has been locked in with him this offseason. So you see him posting that video, and Hobbs is pretty fired up. So that's why we got to keep it muted. But it's so cool, man. Jair is now departed. Nate Hobbs steps in as that free agent, pick up there at the cornerback position. Carrington Valentine, as we talked about, was arguably the best cornerback on the team last year with the majority of the year, Jair's absence there with the injuries. Really, really cool to see Carrington and Nate Hobbs kind of lock arms, right?
Yeah.
And again, Carrington's going to be here for at least another 2 years, and we'll see if he earns another contract. Nate Hobbs is under contract, I think, for 3 or 4 years. Although we talked about it, you can get out of it in 2 if it don't work out. But I think they're seeing him here in the foreseeable future. If I were to be negative for just a second, again, nothing's mandatory. Obviously, we're shouting these guys out, these players out, because they're going above and beyond. But you'd love to see Keyshawn out there with them too. But
yeah.
Carrington and Nate Hobbs, I think they're going to help hold that secondary down this year, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to prove to be the core. You're right. I'd like to see Keyshawn out there with them too, kind of galvanize that DB room. But I'm sure if Keyshawn's getting a late flight from Vegas or something, he'll be here on time. Don't worry. But seeing the young talent, and then you get a guy like Nate Hobbs who's young enough, but kind of a veteran, kind of established player himself, looking for a new home here, and I think he's found one in Green Bay. So. Really, Carrington Valentine is going to be that X factor. We've talked about it numerous times. This is going to be a big year, big opportunity for him. And I really do. I'm 100% behind him, I believe. And I think he's going to step up this year. CV's a star, man. He really is.
And then kind of in the same vein there of what Jordan Love was doing earlier, this was cool. Matthew Golden got tagged in a Instagram post, and he put this on his IG story. And I had to take a little shot there. While Minnesota Vikings receivers are in court for DUI, Matthew Golden's been working out, taking underprivileged kids shopping and fishing in Texas with his buddy Baron Sorrell, and then, of course, hanging out with Packer fans here in town. So pretty cool, man, to see him embrace everything that's going on, too. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just that he's a first-round pick, and we haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round for so long. But it just seems like Matthew Golden is pretty damn mature to be that young of a player coming into the league. Now, listen, he's got to do it on the field. All this is all great and sunshine and rainbows and everything, but these guys have got to go out and perform, Tim, or none of this is going to matter at all, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, you take one look at Matt Golden, he's going to perform. I mean, you got to have faith in these guys. We don't want to get too excited too soon about our rookies, but there's a reason that the Packers pulled the trigger and brought him to Green Bay, and he's clearly fitting the mold as a Packer. I think it's cool to see him, taking the underprivileged kids to Dick's Sporting Goods and getting them all shoes and, warm-up jackets and things like that. And to hear him talk about being one of those kids himself not too long ago, and it's really like full circle for him to be able to do this and give back to the youth and the community. And it's just really cool to see him stepping up and embracing his role as, the star #1 draft pick receiver. I mean, that's a big story here in Green Bay, right? It's been a while since we took one in the first round. So I think, to your point, Clayton, you can see the maturity. I don't think any of this is too big for him. I don't think he's going to get big-headed. And I think he's going to be pretty successful as a rookie receiver, especially in Matt LaFleur's offense, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it, man. And again, when you watch Texas tape with him down there with Steve Sarkisian, you've seen a lot of that moving Z. You've seen a lot of cheat motion, cheat the stack, nasty splits, all those things. So it's not to a T Matt LaFleur's offense, but it's definitely in the same realm. And I think that having that experience, the timing with the cheat motions and everything, I'm sure there's a lot of choice routes baked into to Sark's offense as well. So maybe that'll give him kind of a leg up. And that might be why Goody valued him over some of these other receivers that we were kind of excited about. Your Jaden Higginses, your Trey Harrises, guys like that. So maybe just a little bit better fit for the Packers. Coach Lynn in the chat says Jordan Love donated all his wedding gifts to the youth also. Absolutely awesome. And that was so cool, too, seeing Jordan Jordan and Ronica tie the knot. I think they're going to be a power couple in Green Bay for a long time, which stuff's important, man. It really is. All the way back to when Brett finally settled down and him and Dede, they, kind of were the first couple of Green Bay. And then, of course, it never worked out with Aaron, but you had a couple other people that Aaron just kind of hopped around. So
Aaron's figuring it out now, though, right? I think he found one now. Better late than never, right, Clay?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. 2-0 for this in the chat said this team's going to treat negative fans like Ricky Bobby's kids treated their grandpa. Man, I was watching that the other day. I was in the pool. We had Talladega Nights on, and when he said, "What'd you do today, kids?" He said, "I threw all of Grandpa's war medals off the bridge." It's like, geez, what are we doing?
Oh, gosh. I haven't seen that in so many years, man. Classic.
Yeah. He said, "You're going to let them talk to their grandpa that way?" You darn right I am. He said, because they're winners. They can do whatever they want. Oh, man, I'll tell you.
You ain't first and last, man.
Dick in the chat says, rare for me to watch live, but hello, PTA, go Pack, go A. Thanks for swinging through, buddy. It's so good to see you, man. So good to see you. So, all right, let's get into the next topic here, Tim. Again, I just like to kind of I love this time of year because when you go through and you hit all the tweets like that, you just kind of get, test the pulse, not just Packer fans, but Packers in general, and everybody giving access to a little bit into their personal lives on Instagram in a positive way. It's just cool. It kind of makes you feel like you're right there along for the ride. If you use social media correct, you stay away from the toxic people. Don't waste any time. Just block them and move on, man. It can be a really, really cool way to follow the football season. In this case, the off season. But all right, let's jump into this, man. This is starting to gain a little steam. I want to give a shout out to Ryan Schlipp with Packernet Podcast. Obviously, that's where you find this show in podcast form. It's still my favorite podcast is Packernet Podcast. If you guys have never checked it out, make sure you just search Packernet Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Ryan pretty much does a show daily. He's got a call-in show as well. You can scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to Packernet as well. But anyway, he's been kind of keeping his finger on the pulse in terms of tweeting out when these second-round rookies are signing, right? So I thought, let's put a little something together. Let's comb through all of Twitter, all of the intrawebs and see, do we have any updates on Anthony Belton, maybe some players in and around his situation that are kind of the dominoes are falling into place. So it's probably just a matter of time before we get our second-round pick under contract. So let's go ahead and
me and his money.
Thank you. Exactly. Adam Schefter tweeted out, the next big domino in the second round has fallen. 49ers second-round pick, Alfred Collins. You guys remember we covered him quite a bit. I can't get to my board right now. We covered him quite a bit during the draft process, one of those D tackles that we would have been perfectly fine with the Packers drafting as well. But he was number 43 overall selection by the Niners. They reached an agreement tonight. I guess this was yesterday that this was tweeted out, on a 4-year, $10.3 million deal that includes over $9 million guaranteed and now is expected to trigger multiple second-round signings per sources. Until now, 30 of the 32 second-round picks remained without a deal. Collins will have 88% of his deal guaranteed, a huge jump over last year's number 43 overall pick. So what you're seeing here, Tim, these second-round picks, they're trying to get as much guaranteed money as they can, and rightfully so, man. You got to get it while you can, right? It's bad enough I say bad enough. I don't really care as a fan, but if you're looking at it through the players' perspective and the players' union perspective, the previous CBA, they kind of gave in to the owners and allowed the rookies to be slotted into an X amount of money. And now they're trying to get as much guaranteed as they can. So as these dominoes continue to fall in place, obviously you see they're up to 88% of the deal being guaranteed. Now, we talked about Jaden Higgins. I think might have been Houston, if I remember correctly. Wide receiver, one of your draft crushes this last year. He got his, to the best of my knowledge, he got his entire contract fully guaranteed. So that's why these second-round picks are kind of taking a little bit, if that makes sense, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I hope I'm right. Jaden Higgins better be that dude, right? A lot of guaranteed money out there. So, hey, it's a new dawn, new day, man. The league is changing. And, I'm with you, Clayton. I don't think we should fault any of these guys for wanting to get their money. It's tough. You could play one game, one down, and never play again. It's a brutal game, and you got to make your money when you can. And you know how it is. Rookie contracts, they're not a lot of money usually right away anyways. So trying to get as much as you can guaranteed, I'm not faulting the players for that at all.
Yeah, definitely. So next domino that fell into place here, Ian Rappaport tweeted out the Ravens are expected to sign pass rusher Mike Green. You guys remember one of the top prospects on our board. Now he fell because there was some personal stuff that people were worried about, right? We're assuming if we heard it, the teams heard it, and it's no coincidence. He was arguably the best pass rusher in the draft last year, or this year, I should say, and he falls to the second round, right? So it sounds like they've come to an agreement with a 4-year contract today. Sources say another second rounder that gets done. Green was the 59th overall pick. So now you're seeing them in the 40s, the 50s, everybody kind of falling into place. So let's talk about Anthony Belton's status here. And again, there's nothing like overly elegant about the way we put this little article together over in our Patreon group. If you guys want to join our Patreon community, scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Best way to support what we do here at PTA. So what I did was just kind of comb through the internet, had AI put us some bullet points together. Here's what we know about the situation, essentially. Now we've seen these other 2 contracts fall into place, right? So Anthony Belton, second-round draft pick for the Green Bay Packers, remains unsigned for the first practice training camp less than 1 week away. So we still got some time. Obviously, I think the 23rd is the first training camp practice, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check. I don't want to tell y'all wrong here. Yeah, so 23rd is the first open practice. Obviously, they're going to begin reporting, I think, on the 22nd. They report the first practice is going to be on the 23rd. So we still got a little bit of time there, but we are coming down to the wire less than a week away. Rookies, including Belton, are due to report for Green Bay Packers training camp on Saturday, with the first practice scheduled for Wednesday. So, Tim, ideally, you'd like to get that done tomorrow or the next day and get him in-house since the rookies can be there and kind of begin practicing a little bit. Hopefully, they can get that done in time. Now, Belton's 4-year contract is projected to be worth a little more than $8 million, with about $5.9 million guaranteed based on comparisons to last year's 46th pick. Now, if we go back up, keep that in mind there. Somebody do the math for me in the chat if y'all don't care. What percentage is 5.9 million of 8 million flat? What percentage would that be? Because the most recent one here with Alfred Collins is 88% of the deal guaranteed. So I would imagine that's
pretty close to 80, right?
Yeah,
close to 80%.
Yeah, a little less than 80, maybe a little more is what I'm thinking. Deadfish says 75%. You know, Tim, that's awful close to 65% last time I checked. But anyway,
65%.
65%. That's what so quick with the trigger. So 75%, you're kind of seeing it, right? The Packers are probably trying to do what was done last year, and Belton's going, hey, man, we're getting a little bit more guaranteed this year. Belton ain't saying that, but his reps are saying it, right? So this all makes sense.
His money.
I would go in there. I would crack the 80% mark, try to get it done. Maybe they already have. Maybe, who knows, man? We're not behind the scenes. Maybe Belton's going, I want it 100% guaranteed. And the Packers are kind of in the right in terms of, comparisons across the league with these second-round picks. So I'm feeling a little bit better, though, Tim. I think this is going to get done before Saturday. I really, really hope it does.
I think so, too. Plenty of time. Wrap up the business end of things here as we go into camp. And I'm sure we'll get some other announcements, too. A few other key players that we're looking at getting some deals done. I'm thinking maybe at least at some point during camp we'll see some more. But, yeah, Anthony Belton, man, we got to get Escalade figured out here. Get him out there. Get him on the field, see what he can do.
Yeah, for sure. So just a couple other key notes here, comparison to other picks. Anthony Belton is a part of a logjam of unsigned second-round picks with the signing of 49ers defensive tackle Alfred Collins. We already hit on that. We talked about Alfred Collins' money. Belton, as the 54th overall selection, is compared to last year's 46th pick, Jonathan Brooks, whose 4-year, $8.4 million included $6.2 million in guarantees, so a little bit different number there, 74.1% on those exact numbers. In contrast, last year's number 54 was defensive tackle Michael Hall. He got the 4-year, $7 million with $4.3 million. That was only 61.9% guaranteed. The signing process has been influenced by earlier second-round picks, starting with Houston Texans wide receiver. There he is, Jaden Higgins, number 34. Tim, our boy Higgins started this whole damn mess, didn't he?
You're all right. I'll take the heat for it.
I said it was our boy. I didn't throw you under the bus. I said it was ours.
It's true. I had no idea of that. It was gonna pan out this way, but hey, more power to him, man. Get your money. You know,
right.
You never know.
Absolutely. who had every penny of his fourth-year contract guaranteed, and New Orleans Saints quarterback Tyler Shuck, the number 40 overall pick, who also seeks full contract guarantees. We talked about Shuck early on in the draft process as Greg Cosell was really, really high on him. Boy, he knocked that one out of the park. So moving along, though, to kind of look at, all right, projections and analysis here. Anthony Belton, let's look at it from a PFF standpoint with him at NC State. Now, he played left tackle the entire time. They had him listed at 6'6", 336. You guys go check the RAS card, make sure that's correct. That might be an inch or two off here or there. But in 2021, a 74.8 grade on minimal snaps. 22 as a starter, 64 was his grade. 23 jumps to a 65. 24, he jumps to a 73. So what you're seeing is when he took over as a starter, he has gotten better every single year, according to PFF. Not saying it's gospel. It's just another metric we can use. But you're seeing an ascending player. Tim, I can't think of one draft pick we had this year that was not ascending coming into the league. You know what I mean? It seems like every single pick we took, when we look at the PFF grades, we look at the statistics, they're all ramping up as they're entering the league. That's definitely something we need to focus on in our draft coverage moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with guys like Belton and Matthew Golden. Right, you can see it all over the tape and all over the stat sheet. Not just PFF, but just look at film and look at stats, and you can see. And there's a method to the madness, right? This is what Goody is doing. It keeps us young and keeps us constantly getting better. And you want guys that are ascending. You want to get someone that's the hot hand, right, coming into the league, and hopefully that momentum carries them through their rookie year and well into their career.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving along here, projections and analysis. This is what was combed through on the internet here and on X. Belton's contract negotiations are expected to fall in line relatively soon following the signing of Collins. All right, Belton was the starting left tackle at NC State and has been playing right tackle and right guard during the Packers offseason practices. It's really important to mention that because, one portion of the fan base just assumes that Rasheed Walker is going to be the starting left tackle. Another portion of the fan base thinks that Jordan Morgan is going to be competing with Rasheed Walker for the left tackle spot. But surprisingly, it doesn't sound like Anthony Belton's going to be competing at left tackle at all. It shouldn't surprise us, Tim, because there's a little bit of precedent here. It sounds like the same exact process they took with Jordan Morgan. If you guys remember, Jordan Morgan played left tackle his entire high school and college career. Anthony Belton played left tackle for at least the entire duration of his college career. Seems like they're taking left tackles and then kicking them over to guard at the right side. And now it sounds like Jordan Morgan's going to have an opportunity to unseat Rasheed Walker at left tackle. I personally don't think it's going to happen. And what excites me, though, is the thought of having more depth on this offensive line. That's really what I'm coming away with here, man. You're muted, brother.
Sorry about that.
You're good, man.
Absolutely. Trust the process, right? Sometimes taking a guy and sticking him at right guard or left guard and letting him get his NFL legs under him for a year and then letting him compete for a tackle spot is, that's not a bad approach. Kind of gets you up to speed without, worrying about, blowing up, our franchise quarterback with a missed block on the blind side. So I think I'll trust that approach. And we talk about having depth, right? We talk about wanting versatile O-linemen. So I don't see why you can't try them at another position. I think we overreact sometimes as fans when we see guys getting moved around a lot during training camp. And, we have to remember that's what this is for, right? This is the time is to, experiment and you want your best lineman out there, period, whoever that group is, right? Best five. And you go from there. So it'll be fun to watch camp and see where they end up moving guys around.
Yeah. So the Packers aim for Belton to compete for a starting job, particularly at right guard against returning starter Sean Ryan. The offensive line coach, Luke, I always want to call him Dick Butkus. Luke Butkus praised Belton's film at North Carolina State, noting his athleticism despite being around 360 plus pounds last year. I don't know if that's a typo or not with AI pulling that from the interwebs, but if he was up around 360, good Lord have mercy.
Sick.
Now lighter, enhancing his movement. So, that would suggest, yes, 300. It's wild to think 336 pounds is lighter than you played at college. But Belton's size, 6'6", 336, smooth, controlled movement led to his nickname, Big Escalade, given by North Carolina State strength and conditioning coach D'Antonio Burnett, highlighting his ability to change direction effectively for a big man. So big Escalade because he's so smooth. All I can think about, Tim, when you talk about putting that big of a body in the guard position, Duo is going to be a blast to run this year. Him getting to the next level. Could you imagine being a 245-pound stack backer and look up and see 6'6", 336 running at you like a freight train, or I'm sorry, running at you like an Escalade?
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that. And then add that to the fact that we've got, big dogs like Aaron Banks out there too now, putting in work. It's going to wreak havoc on linebackers for sure. And how fun is it for guys like Emmanuel Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd to get to run behind that type of a line, man? It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is going to be a blast. So again, just a little update there on what's going on with Anthony Belton. Their second-round pick. No reason to be concerned. I wouldn't be concerned unless you get into all the way through the first week of camp where you got whatever it is, 3 or 4 practices there. If he's not under contract by Saturday the 26th, Tim, then I'm going to start getting a little antsy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all right, what are we doing? Let's get this done. So
Absolutely.
just kind of create our own little timeline there. And some other important dates here as well. We talked about quarterbacks, rookies, and injured players report tomorrow. They're going to do the Packers 1K kids run there around Lambeau. Then on Saturday the 19th, they're going to have the Packers 5K run. If you guys like to get out and exercise, get over there, run that 5K, get around Lambeau, be a part of the festivities. Me, I'm not a runner. If you ever see me running, you should run too, because I'm running from something. You know what I mean, Tim? It ain't because I'm trying to exercise. Either that or the buffet opened up. Tuesday, July 22nd, the veterans players will report. Wednesday, the 23rd, will be the first practice, 10:30 a.m. Central Time at Ray Nitschke Field. And, of course, Friday, July the 25th is the Packers annual meeting of shareholders. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Central at Lambeau Field. Saturday, August the 2nd, we got family night. And then Thursday, August 21st is the last practice open to the public. So make sure you guys get up there to the Lambeau Field area, Ray Nitschke Field, all that good stuff, and partake in the training camp atmosphere. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So, all right. Let's move it along here, Tim, and let's talk a little contract at the edge position, all right? And so you guys seen T.J. Watt got paid today, right?
What a great picture, Clayton.
Oh,
Absolute perfect picture. Is that Mac Jones getting destroyed?
Dude, if you want to see just prime Rashawn Gary, like Rashawn Gary at his best, go back and watch them play the Patriots. And I want to say it was at Lambeau. I want to say it was 2022. It might have been 23, but I think it was 22. Anyway, just, go look at the 23 calendar. If you don't see it there, check 22 or a past schedule. He dominated that. I mean, they could do nothing to stop Rashawn Gary in that game. It was a blast to watch. I remember being in New York. I went up, me and Mandy went up to Sleepy Hollow, a little Halloween town, festivities there in October. And I remember Jacob and some other guys did the post-game show for me and watching the game up there. And I was like, we were sitting at dinner at it's called the 1776 house. It's actually got a lot of historical significance. It's where trying to think now the spy for the British during the Revolutionary War that got caught, but not our Nathan Hale, but their counterpart. But it was essentially where they tried him and hung him on the hill out behind the restaurant. So they turned this old 1776 house where they housed him, basically jailed him through the process until he, got through with his trial and they executed him. But anyway, I was up there in that restaurant. I mean, this beautiful property, everything was just awesome. It's just me being a history nerd, it was off the charts. And I've got my phone on the table. Everybody eating fine dining dinner, and I'm watching the Packers game on the table. I don't care. I just remember Rashawn Gary absolutely dominates. So anyway, that's what that picture was from there. So Rashawn Gary's contract / production compared to T.J. Watt and Max. Look how I spelled this, Tim.
Mac Crosby. That's phonetically spelled right there. I love it.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to Rashawn Gary's first contract, right? When he was drafted into the league, his cap hit was 2.8, 3.6, 4.3, and $5 million flat. All right. That was his initial rookie contract, right? So now let's talk about production and what Gary's done throughout his entire career here. Okay. When, you guys know how I feel about quarterback pressure percentage. If you just focus on sack numbers, you're not keying in on run stops. You're not keying in on getting the quarterback off his spot. You're just simply looking at sack numbers. This ain't going to look too appealing to you. But when you look at the quarterback pressure percentage, again, 10% is kind of that mark. If you have above a 10, 11%, you're considered a very effective pass rusher, right? 2019, Gary was 12.3%. 2020, he jumped to 16%. 21, he jumps to 15.8%. 22, he jumps to 19%, right? And in 23, 17.4%. And then last year, with Jeff Hafley coming on the team, obviously we've seen them adjust and really start to play the run a lot more. You've seen him get up to 13.4% last year. And the big thing that you want to notice here is look at the snaps too. Like, he's played more snaps the last 2 years than the previous year. He had that ACL injury in 2022 that dropped those snaps down. 23 jumps up to 561. Last year he jumps to 605, but he's still nowhere near some of the top edge rushers in the snap count they got. That's a Matt LaFleur thing. And you could confidently say that's a Matt LaFleur thing because over the years, he's gone through 3 defensive coordinators now, and it's all stayed a heavy rotation. So it's got to be Matt LaFleur's idea to keep that heavy hockey line rotation going with the defensive line, defensive front. So Gary's new contract, all right? So in 2023, you see that new contract go into effect. Cap hit was $11.8 million, $11.1 million, all right? Then it jumped to $25.7 this year, okay? So it's easy for some people to look at this year's cap hit and go, whoa, that's way too much money for the level of production that Gary's gotten. Are we just going to conveniently ignore the fact that the last 2 years it was only $11 million cap hit? You know what I'm saying? So the way that Goody structures these is the cap hit's going to go up, and you can get out of the contract if you don't think the player's worth it. Now, obviously, him leading the team in sacks, quarterback pressures, run stops last year, you're going to and also the highest PFF grade on the defensive line as well. So everything across the board, Gary was the best defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers according to all the analytics. So
pay that man his money.
$25.7 million, obviously, you see that number and you go, whoa, that seems pretty extensive, right? Hold on a second. Let's talk about the other guys. And again, remember these comparisons in terms of quarterback pressures and focus on the snaps. The reason the sack numbers are down is because you got less snaps, right? Let's go to TJ Watt's new deal, guys. Actually, this isn't his new deal. This was the deal leading up to the new deal, okay? So TJ Watt, $8.1 million in 21. He jumped to $24.3 million. In 2023, he was making $29.3 million. All right. So he was making more money than Gary in 23 is going to make this year. Now, if we just go back to last year, he was making more money than Gary made last year at $11 million in terms of cap hit. And in 2022, he was doubled that, over doubled it in terms of cap hit. Right. And listen, TJ Watt is a great player. I think TJ Watt is better than Rashawn Gary. Don't take me the wrong way. I actually think that Max Crosby is probably better than Rashawn Gary as well. Although when you look at the numbers, it doesn't scream, man, he's better. You look at sacks, yeah. You look at the other analytics, like, okay, are we just trying to get out to the quarterback or do you want to stop the run too, right? But you look at this in terms of percentage of the cap, Tim, like, why have the Steelers not been able to win? You know what I'm saying? Like, could it be that they've been in some cap trouble, having these huge cap hits on? I mean, you're talking about TJ Watt there taking up 13% of the cap in 2023, right? So, Again, that was his last contract. And we'll talk about his statistics here in a minute. But when you compare those, right, to say Rashawn Gary, like Rashawn Gary last year, 4% of the cap, guys, 4% of the cap. Last year in 2024, our boy TJ Watt accounted for 11.9% of their salary cap. And what if I told you that Rashawn Gary had a higher quarterback pressure percentage? What if I told you that Gary had only one sack less in terms of sack rate? If you were to give Gary the same amount of snaps that TJ Watt got, he would have finished with one less sack than TJ Watt. And he had a higher run stop rate than TJ Watt. Again, I'm not saying he's a better player than TJ Watt, but on a per snap basis, he was just as productive as TJ Watt. The only issue is Rashawn Gary wasn't getting the snaps because of the way Matt LaFleur likes to do that heavy pass rush rotation. It's worth noting too, Tim, Rashawn Gary led the defensive line outside or the edge defenders in playtime, in snap count. So it's not like, well, Rashawn Gary's taking himself off the field. No, that's a heavy rotation because it's all the way across the board. You can see it. Gary's still led in snaps. So,
like you said, only accounting for 4% of the cap hit too. You know,
yeah,
so
right.
I don't understand the logic of people who complain about Rashawn's contract and him getting paid. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah, and when you look at the $25.7 million cap hit this year, in 2025 this year, Gary's cap hit is still only accounting for 9.2%. 9.2, right? And now let's go on to TJ Watt here, okay? We'll come back to the stats in a second because I want to, while we're talking contract, look at this. Will somebody come look at this? At long last, the Steelers have their star pass rusher get it done. Watt gets a whopping $108 million guaranteed. All right, so the contract is 3 years, $123 million, right, overall, with $108 million guaranteed. So you do the math there. 4 years, $123 million, average annual value, $40 million per year is what that comes to.
Yep.
That's crazy. Now, is he a great player? Yes. Does it get him over the hump? It hasn't in the last decade. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about that. Now, if you go to his numbers here again, look at his.
I feel great. I mean, at least I don't have to hear Packer fans crying about us bringing him in.
Right. So his pressure percentage starting in 2018, 16, 15, 17, 16, 11, 13, and 9. Now, I want you guys to notice something. His best quarterback pressure percentage year was 17.6 in 2020. Correct?
Wow.
Look at Gary. His best was 19%. And again, with Gary, you're seeing 17%, 19%, 15%, 16%. Right?
Yep.
Not saying he's a better player than TJ Watt, but this idea that he's not in the ballpark is just silly. And when you compare dollars to dollars here, I feel like we're getting more bang for our buck. So I don't want to hear this whole Rashawn Gary's overpaid thing. I don't know, it just doesn't add up to me. Let's move on to Max Crosby again right here, Tim. I thought you'd appreciate that right there.
I love that. Perfect.
Here
Max
was
Crosby.
Here was his previous contract, all right, starting in 2022. Cap hit $6.6 million, jumped to $12.9. Look at the cap hit in 2024. $30.2 million for Max Crosby. Okay, 11.8% of the cap. Again, that was in 2024. What was our boy Rashawn Gary's in 2024? 4.3%. Just insane. Now, let's look at the statistics. Look at Max Crosby's quarterback pressure percentage. 12, 10, 18, 13, 12, and 12. Gary, neither TJ Watt or Max Crosby has ever hit the 19% pressure mark. Gary has. And you're seeing the other years. I mean, how many years? I wish I'd done a side-by-side comparison, to be honest with you, so I didn't have to scroll. 13, 17, 19, 15, 16, right? So let's go 15, 16, 17, 19. How many times did he do that? 15, 6, or not TJ Watt, Max Crosby. Once. Yeah. He only cracked 15% pressure rate 1 year, and that was in 2021 at 18%. Am I losing my mind here, folks, in the chat? Am I the only one that's like, listen, I understand I'm a Rashawn Gary fan. You guys know how I feel. When he battled his ass off to come back early from that ACL, I'm all about it. But what am I missing here that makes people so in love with these other pass rushers? Because people will say, well, it's the sack totals, Clayton. It's the sack totals, right? Look at our boy Max Crosby's snap count last year. 725 snaps, right? Let's go off the pass rush. 431 pass snaps, right? 7.5 sacks. So 431, 7.5. You go back to Gary, 389 with 7.5 sacks. So he got the same amount of sacks off far fewer rush snaps than Max Crosby did last year. Now, here's the kicker, Tim. Max Crosby got a contract, a new one. Look at the cap hit now. In 2025, $38.1 million cap hit, 13.6 of the salary cap allocation, right? 2026, $35.8 million. That's 11.6 against the cap. Guys, he's getting paid $13 million against the cap more than Rashawn Gary this year in terms of allocation. Okay. And next year he's getting paid, let's see, 35.8 compared to Gary's. What's Gary's 35.8 compared to Gary's? Looky here, 28. So you're $8 million less than Max Crosby with more production in the most recent year. So I just wanted to highlight that stuff because to me, that truly matters, Tim. That's the stuff that matters. It's like when you're talking about this player's overpaid, why is he overpaid? What are you comparing it to? Because the cost of a player is the cost of a player. I'm not dogging Pittsburgh for giving TJ Watt all that money. If you want an elite edge rusher, TJ Watt is it, right? I'm not dogging the Raiders for doing that with Max Crosby. My question, though, is why are we always dogging Rashawn Gary for making 4% of the cap last year and this year still far, far less than these two guys, but you want to go trade for a Max Crosby. You want to go trade for a TJ Watt. You know what I'm saying?
I totally know what you're saying. I mean, I just pulled up our lad's depth chart on the Raiders right now. I mean, other than Max Crosby, who's right. Their edge rusher? Look, I'm sure we can go over to Pittsburgh's depth chart and find a similar story. Meanwhile, we look at our edge room in Green Bay. I feel pretty good about LVN. We talked about JJ Enagbare and him kind of being up and down, but I feel good about the depth even with him. Guys like Mosby. We're able to put together an edge room by committee with yes, Rashawn being your leader and being your star guy, but we have a lot of depth around Rashawn Gary, which is something that I don't think the Raiders and that maybe the Steelers would have a better argument than the Raiders, but I don't think either one of those two teams has a edge room like we do, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Coach Lynn, great point here. He says, yikes, this is at 30 also. So I don't know which player he was talking about. It doesn't matter because they're both, it's going to apply, right? So Max Crosby in 2025, 28 years old, okay? So he's probably talking about TJ Watt. So he's 28, and they just signed this new deal. So their potential out is going to be after the 2027 season. So they've got him at 38.1 cap, 35.8 cap, 29.7 cap. If you go back up to Gary, this is the beautiful thing about Gary's contract. And I'm going to say this, listen, this is how I look at the contracts. This is how I look at the structure of the salary cap. The writing is on the wall for Gary, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. In 2025, his cap hit is $25.7 million. Look at the dead cap, 25.5. Anytime you get with $1 million or $3 million of breaking even, from here on out, you're off the hook. If Gary hits the wall this year, and I don't think he will, I think he's going to be a dog like he was last year. If Gary were to hit the wall this year, guess what you can do, Tim? Next year, his cap hit jumps to $28 million, and his dead cap is $17 million. You know what that means? You could
restructure, baby.
You can restructure, but you can also, let's say he hits the wall, and it's just like, okay, we ain't going to pay.
Okay. Yeah.
You could cut him outright and free up $11 million in cap space. That's the difference. Now, let's say he balls out this year and you got him next year and then he hits the wall after next year. Guess what? In 2027, at $31 million cap hit, there's only dead cap attached of 8.5. So you could free up roughly, let's just easy math, $22 million in cap space by just cutting him. So that's how that's structured, right? I think my math was right there. Yeah, 22. I believe that was correct. Close, roundabout.
He's going to ball out. We don't even need to worry about it. He's going to ball out.
But the point is, cap allocation, $5.2 million, 5.2%, 4.3%, 9.2%, 9.1%, comparatively speaking to the other top pass rushers in the game. And Goody's already got the out set up. Now, what Tim was talking about with the restructure, let's say he balls out and you want to free up cap next year. Here's what you can do there. In 2026, you can look at the structure of that contract. The base salary is $18 million, right? Signing bonus is 6.9, restructure, roster. Okay, so you could take that $18 million and you could say, hey, Gary, how about we meet in the middle here? We want to keep you around. You're getting a little bit older now. You got $18 million in salary. We'll fully guarantee $10 million of it if you'll shave 6 off of it. So the base salary goes to 2. He gets a $10 million check in hand, a little bit of what am I trying to look here? Security, which is what Elton Jenkins is looking for right now. So you do that and you shave $6 million off the cap next year. That's cash over cap. That's why Goody structures these the way he does. Or you can just do that and then tack on voidable years. You can even do that, tack on voidable years and spread that $10 million you just fully guaranteed. You could put 2 voidable years in, stack on $5 million, and you don't even have to account for it until 2 years down the road. Not that we need to do that because we got like whatever it is, $40 million in cap space. So Goody and Russ Ball, the moral of the story, they cooked here. We showed you every statistic comparatively speaking to Max Crosby and TJ Watt. We showed you how the contracts are way, way higher than Rashawn Gary's. I want to get to the point that Coach Lim was making. This new contract, right? So he gets a 3-year extension, right? 3-year contract. It's not going to show the new contract here, but you tack on that 3-year. Tim, he's 31 years old this year.
Yep.
So I like where we're at, boys. I like where we're at.
I agree. I mean, it explains the 3-year deal, right? Which is really a 2-year deal, but the money is what it just is kind of surprising.
Yep, exactly. And again, it is worth mentioning, Gary was, what was he, 6th? I think he was 6th, or maybe he led in third down pressure percentage, like 21 or 24%, something crazy, right? He also led every single edge defender in the entire National Football League, including TJ Watt, including Max Crosby. He led in run stop rate. So he was the best run defending, I'm going to say it again, the best run defending edge defender in the entire league at 4% of the salary cap. Sorry, man, I just can't. I can't stand the fact that people are saying he's overpaid when you talk about all the numbers across the board. It's just crazy. So Coach Lynn says crazy. Steelers are desperate to stay relevant. That contract proves it. And here's the other thing too, Coach. Bill Walsh 101, the last piece of the puzzle you put in place is wide receiver. Well, they went and got DK Metcalf. Do we feel like the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender? No. They went and got Aaron. I think that gets them closer, much closer than Mason Rudolph being your quarterback. But to sit here and pretend like Aaron Rodgers is MVP Aaron, I don't think that either. I'm rooting for the guy. I'll be honest with you. Every game but one this year, I'm going to be a Steelers fan. My brother was a big Steelers fan. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. When they play the Packers, I hope we embarrass the hell out of Aaron Rodgers and those Steelers. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like they're kind of doing everything backwards. You know what I'm saying? They're like literally they're going and getting the big wide receiver and paying top dollar for it. And they're overpaying 30-year-olds, right? And it's kind of like, okay, they're pushing their chips in the middle of the table and it doesn't really feel like they have a shot. Now, they could prove me wrong. We'll see. But we will see, though. Robert in the chat says, I'm calling it now. Gary and Van Ness will both have double-digit sacks. I hope you're right, Robert, but honestly, it depends on what we do schematically. Like if we continue to approach defense the way we did last year, the sack numbers are going to stay down, right? And the reason being is because Hafley is focused on stopping the run. That's what he's focused on doing. Trying to get pressure with 4, simulate pressure, and bail out with fire zone blitzes, and you're only bringing forward the large. I heard somebody else again today, and I'm tired of calling people out on the radio, but I heard a guy earlier today go, well, trying to think of how he said it. Didn't Gary have a pretty good year? Somebody had said that, and the guy responded and said, well, he said, didn't the Packers do pretty good with sacks this year? Well, if you remove their 3 best games, they're in the bottom half. What are we doing? We're not allowed to count when they played the best. That's what we're doing. And then you mentioned the run defense. Well, they don't get paid to play run defense. The hell they don't. Go tell Jeff Hafley that. Hey, Jeff, we're not going to worry about stopping the run this year. Watch how hard it is to call a defense. But getting back to what Robert said, Robert, if they were to change the defense and just pin their ears back and go get the quarterback, I think they could both have double-digit sacks. I just don't expect Hafley to do that, Tim, because it's got to be that good balance, right? If you go after the quarterback, and Robert's not saying do that and be irresponsible. I think he's just excited about where this pass rush can go. If you decide to do that, you may be taking one thing away from the offense, but you're giving up another. That's how that works, right? So,
yep. That's why it's crucial, like our stack backers, we got to see these guys, how they play together. Because if we get good linebacker play, it's going to allow our edge guys to tee off a little bit more. And maybe you will see Hafley dial up a little more pressure. You never know.
Yeah, sure. All right, so there you go. There is your Rashawn Gary, TJ Watt, Max Crosby contract breakdown. I thought it'd be important just to kind of take a look at that since that was in the news today here on the eve of camp. Let's jump into the Patreon questions here real quick, Tim. Then we'll wrap up, man. Ron Samble in here, and these are a couple days old. I apologize getting to them a little bit late, but if you guys, these work just like super chats, and if you ever want your comment read on the air, just hit us with a super chat, or you can join our Patreon group, $3 tier. You get access to this, get your questions read over. So Ron Samble says, the players voted Gary as number 80 on the top 100. Are Packer fans just that much smarter than the players that he plays against? That's the whole thing too, right? Is like, I heard people knocking the top 100. I'm like, you realize these are the opponents. These are the players in the league voting.
What do they know?
Yeah. How do they know what a good player is? And that's the other thing too. I could be wrong. Somebody help me in the chat. Who determines the all-pro status? Because everybody holds all-pro like at the top level, right? I want to say they had a player voted all-pro this year. I could be wrong. But is it the media that votes all-pro?
Because I know the media votes for MVP and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that is true. Maybe it is all-pro.
Yeah, keep talking.
It could be sports writers, Writers Association, whatever. They may have certain members that get to vote. I'm not sure. I do know that's how MVP works, though. So it's probably similar.
NFL All-Pro teams are chosen through a selection process primarily involving media members, with the Associated Press being the most recognizable selector.
There you
Now,
go.
unless that's changed here, 50 media vote. There you go. So think about that. You got people in the sports media who control the All-Pro selection, and they're bashing the players who are actually playing the games and the credibility of their vote in the top 100. That is just wild to me. That's a
How dare you?
Agreed, Greta. All right, Mountain Man Pack says, how good would some of our pass rushers be if some of the old Packers came in and showed them some game? I was thinking about this group and how much Reggie White could help a couple of. Could you imagine if Reggie White was still around, Tim, and he just came in and spent a weekend at camp and just worked with Rashawn Gary and Devontae White on getting after the quarterback? Boy, that would be absolutely awesome, man.
That would be so cool to have seen that, right? I'd like to think Reggie would have been a really, really good coach if he'd have stayed with us a little bit longer. But yeah, it's a great point.
Definitely. Robert in the chat said, Clay, where do you put Aiden Hutchinson on all pass rushers? I got to be honest, Robert, when he's healthy, and we don't know what everybody in Detroit is saying, oh, the knee's fine, the leg's fine. I've seen that thing bend like Linguini. Like, I hope he's fine because he's a fun player to watch. He plays the game the right way. When he's healthy, he may be the best pass rusher in the game. He's definitely top 3 in my eyes. I don't know how you feel, Tim. You feel like Hutchinson's up there? It hurts me to admit that, right? But
oh yeah, I hate Detroit just as much as anyone else that watches our show. But you got to tip your cap and give respect where it's due. And I would definitely say arguably the best edge rusher for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Caldwell Corner in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Says, what's going on, boys? Hey, guys, if you're not already, you probably are. Awesome IG account right here. Go search the Caldwell Corner on Instagram and also give him a follow on Twitter. It is absolute insanity that he doesn't have more followers on Twitter. I'm telling you, you won't regret that. So go give him a follow. Just search in the Caldwell Corner on X and you'll find him there. Give him a follow. Appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Randy Cleaver says, keys to making the Super Bowl. Jordan returns to MVP status. Receiving room reduces the drops, and we get pressures and sacks with 4. What do you think? If all 3 of those things happen, yeah, you're going to be in the Super Bowl hunt. Now, I will say this. The whole MVP stuff, for Jordan's sake, I think it'd be awesome. Tim, we've been on this road, man. Aaron was winning MVP after MVP. It didn't make a hill of beans, did it, bud?
Nope.
So that's now reducing the drops, huge. I'll tell you this. If you reduce the drops and Jordan is fully healthy now and he stays healthy, what's going to happen is you're going to see him be in the MVP conversation. There's no way around that, right? So, and in terms of getting sacks with 4, absolutely, man. But again, not at the detriment, not sacrificing the run, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, first and foremost, you got to be able to stop the run, in my opinion. So,
yep. And I put an emphasis on, again, creating turnovers too. Let's be plus in the turnover differential every game. Get some takeaways.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Elijah Gwynn says, thought this might be a fun question for this part of the offseason. What former Green Bay non-quarterback would you add to the current roster in their prime that could all but guarantee would push us to the Super Bowl? Man, this is a great question. So can't be a quarterback, and he's saying all time, Tim, in the history of the Packers. I look up and I go, I think we already talked about him. What do you guys hear me say all the time that I feel like we're lacking, right? Obviously, offensive line was kind of the big question mark coming into the season, seeing what happened against Philly in the playoff game. But I'm always talking about 3-tech. You need a dominant 3-tech, Tim, if you gave me Reggie White next to Devontae White in the middle with Rashawn Gary on the outside, boy, oh boy, that's the first one that comes to mind for me. Who comes to mind for you, man? All-time Packer great.
Man, that's tough because you just stole.
You got to take into account the current roster, right? Like
I know, I know, and you just took mine. I was definitely thinking Reggie White. I guess I could stay D line and give us the Gravedigger. We'll take Big Gilbert Brown back, the man in the middle.
Tackle.
Yep, big old nose.
This would be my second pick right here. Jared in the chat, Charles Woodson. Could you imagine
that too? But look at our secondary. I mean, who are we cutting?
Yeah, think about this though. Think about what the secondary would look like if you had Charles Woodson in his prime. You have Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams playing safety. Carrington Valentine on the outside, Nate Hobbs on the outside. No, Charles Woodson on the outside. Put Nate Hobbs in the slot.
Right? I get it. Yeah.
Although Charles Woodson, man, in that star position, playing nickel in the slot.
Oh, yeah.
See, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yep.
I like 2-0 for this answer. Jay Cutler, that would do it. All right. Get Jay Cutler on the other team every week, and you're good to go, man. You're good to go. So, look at Teebs in the chat says Amon Green in tandem with Jacobs.
Wow.
Could you imagine a pony package with Amon Green and Josh Jacobs?
Oh, my goodness.
Man. Let's turn back the clock a little bit. Let's go all the way back to the Lombardi days, Tim. If you had to pick one player from the Lombardi days, who would it be, man?
Offense
or defense, doesn't matter.
Oh man, I'd probably go Jim Taylor if I'm going to go with a running back. I'd take
Jim Taylor playing H back in the pony package with Josh Jacobs. That's exciting.
Yep.
That's really exciting. Man, mine would be, who would it be? For me, it always comes out of the defensive front for me. It'd probably be. Oh no, I got it right here. You may not like this as much, Tim, because I know you're a Quay Walker believer. I know you're a big Quay Walker fan. Could you imagine Edgerrin Cooper and Ray Nitschke next to each other?
Oh my gosh!
Let's go, man. Let's go.
That would be crazy.
Like what Holmes says here. What about Curly Lambeau? Get him back there in the backfield a little bit back in his days, man.
There you go.
Deadfish. I almost said Willie Davis, man.
Yeah,
that's a great one too.
That's another one that comes to mind right away for sure.
Yeah. Solder in the chat, James Lofton because offense is sexy. Herb Adderley because he's a shutdown corner, changes everything. Herb Adderley's another one, man.
There you go.
I don't know if I would pick Herb Adderley over Charles Woodson, but boy, you can't go wrong with either. My goodness, man. That's a great pick right there. Great pick. Got Chuck Cecil mentioned. This is fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We can't hit like that anymore though. not in today's game.
Exactly.
You want to scare the kids, have them watch Chuck Cecil highlights for a little while.
Matrix Jackson, good to see you, buddy. He says Eddie Lacy just for funsies. Hey, Eddie Lacy, one of my favorite players of all time, man.
You know it.
He was so much fun to watch, man. Came out. Did he win Rookie of the Year, Tim? I think he won Rookie of the Year.
I think he was offensive.
I got to check that possibly. Now, man.
I do know that season it was fun to watch a guy carry the ball and just literally nobody could tackle him. He was impossible to tackle.
Yeah. Rookie of the Year. Let's see if he did win. I think he did. Let's see. Eddie Lacy, running back for the Green Bay Packers, was named Associated Press NFL Rookie of the Year for the 2013 season.
Nice.
That was 12 years ago, Tim.
Feeling old, man. Oh, Dr. Holmes. Al Harris.
There you go.
That's Green Bay secondary royalty right there.
Yeah. Robert said Chuck Cecil, and then Deadfish come back and said Chuck Cecil will be suspended forever. That's a fact. Chuck Jagger says Mark Chimura. There you go, man. He said only because he's the only 100 Madden-rated player ever. I remember that. Back in the day for sure. Yeah. Ed Madden says Chuck Cecil was a heat-seeking missile. I think some will call him a human meat missile.
Yes. Some would.
Some would. So
Some would. Right. I wouldn't, but some would.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody in the Patreon group for those questions. Those are great. Elijah Gwynn, thank you so much, man. That's a great segment there. So, all right, Tim, you got anything else, bud, before we wrap up here, man?
No, getting everything wrapped up, getting all the work done before camp starts, man. We're only a few days away. Ready to go.
We made it, man. Again, when I got on Twitter earlier and I seen the footballs flying out there with the Chargers camp, I went, oh, it's football season. Let's go. Let's get it. So
yes, love it.
Packers Kingdom says Clay Matthews and Cooper. That'd be a fun one, too. Clay Matthews rushing off the edge opposite of Gary would be a blast, too. That'd be great. So, all right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Now, listen, tomorrow, got my niece's Sweet 16 birthday party. We're going to throw a little bash down the road here. So, no show tomorrow. Everybody get rested up. Saturday, we'll be right back at it. Here for PTA, we'll be breaking down any news that's coming down the pike for camp. I'm telling you, it's going to ramp up. We could get the Anthony Belton signing any day now. Elton Jenkins, we're still waiting on that. Zach Tom.
Man his money.
I need that one more time, Tim. Zach Tom.
Pay that man his money.
We need to get him under contract, too. I love the fact that Zach hasn't said a word. He's just going out there and working when they need him to work. And get him his money. He's done everything right. So I'm really, really excited about that. But all right, guys, we're out. If you would hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Okay. You guys crushed it yesterday. Thank y'all so much for helping us get the numbers up. I hate asking, but it's something, it's a necessary evil to remind people, hey, just take a second, hit that like button, hit sub. We appreciate everybody so much. We'll see y'all Saturday. Who knows? It might be a morning show. You never know with these things, right? I might wake up, grab a cup of Joe, and just hit live. So we'll be back Saturday, whether it's in the morning, evening, or both. But everybody have an awesome day tomorrow. It's going to be Friday, right? We made it to the end of the week, so everybody be safe out there. If you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl. You know the drill, right? So we'll see y'all Saturday. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you.
There we go.
Bye, guys.